Hi, Greg here. We're going to talk about cardio training. Now before we get into program design or figuring out our intervals, there's a couple of things you're going to have to do. I'm a big advocate of using zones for all of your training. Now what zone training is, it takes your minimum training heart rate up to your maximum heart rate, divides it into little sections so that you can figure out how hard you should be working at any given time. If you're just getting into cardio, then by all means, just get out there and work at a very low level. Don't try and push yourself really hard. What you want to do is, if you're just getting into running, walk, run, or do whatever your body feels like doing at the time, just to get yourself into the habit of doing it on a regular basis. Then, once you go beyond that and you want to figure out your zones, you're going to have to figure out what your resting heart rate is and what your maximum heart rate is. To figure out your resting heart rate, you're going to, first thing in the morning, before you do anything, before you even get out of bed, when you wake up, you're going to take your heart rate. Now ideally, the day before, you've eaten well, you have lots of water so you're not dehydrated, and if you take it first thing in the morning, that should give you a good idea of how low your heart rate gets when you're perfectly at rest. Do it 2-3 days in a row to make sure that the number is fairly consistent. To get your maximum heart rate, theoretically you could figure out is 220 minus your age. That'll give you a good idea of what your maximum heart rate is. Otherwise, I've left two training protocols or two testing protocols on the site we have, one for the bike and one for the treadmill, and this will get you up to your maximum heart rate or close to it and give you an idea again of how high it is, how high your maximum heart rate is. Then to figure out your zones, what you're going to do is you're going to plug those numbers into a formula. Now there's 5 zones. There's 5 zones that I use. The first zone is 50% of your maximum heart rate. So to figure out what 50% of your maximum heart rate is, you're going to take your maximum heart rate, you're going to minus your resting heart rate, you're going to take the answer to that, multiply it by 50% or 0.5, and then you're going to add your resting heart rate back onto it. That'll give you 50% of your maximum heart rate. So zone 1 is 50%, zone 2 is 60, zone 3 is 70, 80, and 90% is your zone 5 numbers, okay? Once we have that established, then we can move on to program design and what you should be doing when.